All righty, team. I think we might just kick off for this evening. Thank you all for attending. Lovely to meet you all and see you all. Look, if you wouldn't mind keeping your cameras on for this evening, we would love to see your faces and expressions during our presentation tonight. But thank you for joining us. So in terms of what we are going to be seeing today, so we're going to do some introductions in terms of who's going to be speaking, some amazing clinical leads within our company, and obviously our owner and director, Nicholas. He's going to run you through our story, purpose and values, and our unique model. We're then going to go into a little bit about our unique model and some of the details about our new grad program, which has been launched and commencing in February next year. And then you're going to hear about OT, speech, and then some differences between community, private practice, and hospital, as well as some perks that you will receive if you are so lucky to join us here at Concentrics, and then give you an opportunity to ask some questions about recruitment, maybe about some caseloads, what kind of entails within the grad program, or whether there's some clinical questions as well to our leads. And then next steps after this, and then who to contact. So in terms of who you're going to be meeting today, so Nicholas Young is our founder and director, and he was a clinician himself as a physiotherapist. Joanne Bennett, our National Occupational Therapy Team Lead. Kylie, Senior Clinical Mentor for Speech, and Alicia, a graduate with us, 2024 OT grad, Tanya, our HR Resource Manager, and myself, who is the lead TA here at Concentric. Now I'm going to pass over to Nick to give you all in all about the history of Concentric.
Thank you, Brooke, and welcome everyone. Thank you for attending. So as Brooke said, I founded Concentric back in 2017, and the reason I founded Concentric was, as you can see, Angeline and myself went to uni together a number of years ago, and Angeline's grandmother, Domenica, who is the other lady on the screen there, had been living in a residential aged care facility. Ange and I graduated and went our separate ways, but would regularly catch up for coffee. And one day Ange and I caught up and she told me a really sad story, and that story was about her grandmother. Unfortunately, she had sustained a fall while living in the residential aged care home, resulted in a hip fracture, and subsequently she required a hip replacement. She went and had a hip replacement, and then the surgeon discharged her back to the residential aged care facility under the assumption that the physios and the OTs would deliver the necessary care that she needed following that hip replacement. Unfortunately, she didn't get that care for a number of reasons. The funding model was not conducive to rehab, and the availability of staff was not quite there. And so there was no rehab. She laid in bed. Unfortunately, she developed an infection, and not long after that, she passed away. So essentially, when Angeline told me this story, I couldn't believe it, because I was working in a private practice, and had her grandmother come into the private practice I was working in, we would have done the rehab and she would have still been alive. And so at this point, the light bulb went off, and I realized there was probably many stories of Domenica living within residential aged care facilities and in the broader community that had an inequitable access to the quality of care that you and I take for granted. And so we decided to do something about it. And before I tell you what that story resulted in, I just want to talk to you about our values and our purpose. And so the next slide, please, Brooke. Our company, Concentric, has always been and still is a values-based organization and a purpose-led organization. So what does that mean? These are buzzwords that you may have come across before. It essentially means that since day one, we have signed up to a core purpose that we believe is the DNA of our organization, and it is to increase access to quality care. So you see this statement on the screen, and you think, how does that apply to me? What we as an organisation believe in is that everyone should have an equitable access to quality care. And access is beyond just the geographical access. It means the access to information, to technology, to a variety of different things that you and I and the rest of the population generally takes for granted. But people living in residential aged care facilities, people that are seniors living in their homes, and people living with disabilities don't have that same equitable access to care. And so the core purpose, the reason for our being, is to increase access to quality care across Australia. The way that we do that is we have 3 values. The first value is to show kindness. The second value is to be tenacious. And the third value is to keep growing. So we show kindness to ourselves, to our team members, and to our, most importantly, our clients. We show empathy, we show compassion, and we just genuinely believe in the great outcomes that we can achieve as an organisation. The second is to be tenacious. And what does that mean? That means going above and beyond and adhering or trying to achieve excellence in everything we do. It means giving a damn, going that little bit extra each time, and really going after it. And the third is to keep growing. And I personally believe that this is a wonderful value that has resulted in many wonderful achievements that Concentric has achieved over the years. It just means pushing both yourself, your teammates, your clients, their families, just to reach for a better outcome. Really push yourself and make sure that you push yourself outside your comfort zone, because that's where the magic happens. And so over the last 7 years or 8 years since we started Concentric in 2017, if you move to the next slide, Brooke, we have now created an organisation that serves 3 pillars. We deliver services to kids living with disabilities. We deliver services to older adults living in the communities with disabilities, and we also deliver services to seniors. So this can be both seniors living within residential aged care facilities, and this can also be seniors living in the community via home care. We have over 350 team members now, and we make a big impact every single day. I'm so proud of our organisation. I'm really proud of the team that we have, the impact that we made in so many different people's lives, and we've changed the trajectory of so many people's lives through our team for the better. And I'm really glad that you are tonight considering joining Concentric and coming along that journey with us. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Thank you, Nick. So just to speak about our graduate roles that we have on offer and kind of the journey that you guys are going to take for your first role post graduation. So we have a really nice structured 12-month pathway that really kind of ramps up your learning, ramps up your supervision, but also keeps it quite consistent throughout your first year. I know it can be quite daunting coming into a first year post-graduation, but we are absolutely here to support in any way that we can. And we have a really nice supervision structure, as well as some graduate masterclasses that we have put into play for you guys. So within your first 12 weeks up until the end of May, you're going to have one-to-one weekly group mentoring. So alternating between MDT and discipline specific, as well as a 1-hour graduate class. Now, this graduate class could be anywhere from hearing from a CTL. It could be with the IT team that takes you through navigating systems, how to be kind of navigating booking appointments, doing notes and things like that, and uploading, as well as a fortnightly 1-hour group mentoring session. So post your first 12 weeks and right up until the end of your first 12 months, you're going to have consistent fortnightly one-to-one mentoring and group mentoring sessions as well as that masterclass being consistent throughout your first year, which is a really nice time, I think, to kind of step away from maybe your clinic where you can just be amongst the other graduates within your year, where you can ask questions that maybe you don't feel comfortable kind of asking in front of seniors, although you should feel very comfortable asking any questions, but kind of having that mentorship and a group and kind of class that you're starting all together. So that is the graduate pathway. It's really nice and structured, giving you a lot of support. You're going to have a lot of reach out in terms of our clinical team leads and then our clinical mentor leads as well. So yeah, it's a really nice pathway. I think it really ramps up quite nicely to kind of give you the support and supervision that you're going to need within that first 12 months. So now we're going to hear about Alicia's first year as a graduate with us at Concentric. Hello, Alicia.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for sharing part of your night with us. I'll just kind of kick off about my journey. I'm new, but I'm not that new. So I started Concentric with 10 months of experience, actually. I did a new graduate program with another company, and then I decided during that time to leave and start with Concentric. So I'm kind of new, but not new. I'm currently almost 2 years post-grad, and I'm almost coming up to a year being here at Concentric, which is really exciting. And I'm currently working in pediatrics and mental health. I think something to talk about is my favorite parts of Concentric. For me, the biggest thing has been the follow through in terms of supervision and the support that I've gotten here at Concentric. Like Brooke was saying, the clinical focus that Concentric has here has been the biggest game-changing part for me. When they say that being clinically strong is important, I know that Concentric really mean it, in that every Wednesday at 10 o'clock, the whole company puts down their tools and we don't see clients, and we all have a time to learn together. And that's really important to me. So it's been helpful to have the occupational therapy specific training as well as a big group. So having that actually built in the calendar has been the most helpful. Prior to this, at the different company, we had training, but it wasn't necessarily encouraged to have. So to have that put in our calendar at a regular time has shown me that my learning and the support has been the most important thing. The next point is having a really high pressure but high support environment. For me, when I first joined Concentric, I had really big goals and still do have really big goals to further my career. And since joining Concentric, it's been really great to have lots of different chances to pursue my learning and also be supported at every single step. So what that has looked like so far, I think, is more qualitative than more quantitative. And I can see a lot of the learning through actually a lot of the reports that I write. I think a big one that we do as therapists is a functional capacity report. And for me, I find it the most helpful because it really encapsulates how a clinician is able to think critically and holistically about a client, as well as within the context in that we're working with. So seeing my ability to refine my clinical judgment on paper through my reports has been really helpful, as well as having different chances to present on topics that I'm really passionate about in different mental health groups. I did a presentation in May on family violence, which is something that I'm really passionate about. And I will continue to do another presentation in 2 weeks, actually, about a different topic that I'm also very passionate about. So that's been really helpful for me. Absolutely felt the most support working at Concentric, and overall just feeling like my goals for my career and where I want to be as a clinician are taken very seriously. And Concentric really show that through the day-to-day in terms of how our days are set up, in terms of the type of training and help that we get. It's very clear to me that Concentric absolutely mean what they say. So yes, that is everything. Thanks, Brooke. Thanks, everyone.
Alicia, that was brilliant. And now I'm going to hand over to the OT side of things.
Great, thanks, Brooke. Hi, everyone. I'm Joanne Bennett. I'm the National Team Lead for Occupational Therapy. It's an absolute honour to be in this position. There are so many amazing OTs working in this organisation, but not only OTs, allied health across the whole multidisciplinary team all come together and work together in Concentric, which is one of the main reasons that I joined Concentric. I was very impressed by the values of Concentric, and now that I work here, they're real. There is kindness between people. There is continuous growth. There is challenge to continue growing. And what you sort of won't see on the webpage is this amazing connection of people, 300 people across Australia, 70 OTs, all connecting with each other, sharing information, sharing their fantastic stories, sharing the outcomes that they've had with clients. It's so inspiring. And I'm really loving working with Concentric. So I guess the points that I really want to make crystal clear is when you're thinking about where to go as a graduate. The main things is that you're not going to be thrown in the deep end. You're not going to be sort of in a position where you're asked to do too much without the right support. And that's why the first thing I've got on the top of my list is the support network. So I've already touched on some of that, but I just wanted to break it down a little bit for you so you understand that the things that Alicia spoke about, there's that one-on-one opportunity with a mentor. And then above that, you have a national multidisciplinary team as well. So there are heads of each department with their expertise that you can draw upon. Not only that, there's pillars. So you've got kids, community and seniors. And within those pillars, there's also people who have expertise and knowledge that they're very motivated to share. And they share in a formal way throughout the whole organisation. So there's plenty of opportunities for growth and plenty of opportunities for support. And also opportunities for sharing. You know, it's a really great system here. There's people posting, you know, daily about the things that they're doing as a team, the things that they're doing as a therapist, and the outcomes that they're getting with their clients. So it's incredibly inspiring. The other thing that I think is really important as a new graduate is to make sure that you've got a really broad experience. You don't want to be doing, you know, just a couple of narrow things. You want to get as much experience as you can in as many areas as you can and really soak everything up to help you refine where you want to go in your career. So that's the opportunity that you have with Concentric. You have the 3 pillars, but it's not like you have to stay hard and fast in one. You can move between. And also because we're a national company, there's also opportunity to move between clinics. So that's another positive. I've listed here in the slide some of the scopes that we cover. So paediatric kids, which has already been discussed. But that's from 0 to 16. So even within that, there is a lot of scope there and a lot of range of experiences that you can have. We work with seniors, as Nick mentioned, both in clinics, which are really well equipped and beautiful, like very nice environments. And also for people living in their own home, we're extending into that space, which is sort of pretty exciting for a lot of people. Mental health, as you know, will filter into all of those streams. So it's really great, Alicia, I think that you're taking on that scope and you know, you're not limited to the scopes that are here because it's a private business. You can talk to your mentor about what your areas of interest are, and they will support you in your career journey. Of course, with the NDIS too, there's some horror stories out there about people being thrown in the deep end. And I can guarantee you that that's not going to happen here. You are going to have a whole well-established structure of supports, templates that you can use, training that you can draw upon. So it's a very positive environment as a first step. Anyway, that's what I wanted to share, the two sort of most meaningful things from my point of view when you're stepping into a new graduate role. And thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Joanne. Very much appreciated. And now we're going to hand over to Kylie to talk all things speech.
Thank you, and welcome to those who have joined and listening to all the stories. It's lovely to hear, I guess, the same themes flowing through. I was thinking, what can I say that won't have been said before I joined? And I guess I think the passion of the whole team is something that is really important and something that I love about working at Concentric. What do the sessions kind of look like for you is something I think maybe people would like to know. So the one-on-one support clinically follows an agenda, but really you set that agenda of what are the clients that you would like to talk about and what's the most important support that you need within that time. While those are scheduled in, it doesn't mean that you can't get support, at any other time. People are available, not just your clinical mentor, but as we've said before, the clinical team leader who will help with more sort of organisational aspects of your job. And really anyone in the team. I've been fortunate enough to work at the clinic with Alicia, and you ask a question and anyone in the team is happy to be there, willing to support you. We also have speech group mentoring, so those follow different topics over the year. We really want that to be a safe space where everybody is sharing their knowledge and also their challenges. So we do case presentations and do a reflective team approach so that you can learn from each other, but you can also share about where the challenges and strengths of your cases might be. And then the topics for each session come from the team and explore what is topical in the sector as well as what's topical for our team, and sharing feedback from professional development that's been completed by the team. We also have multidisciplinary group supervision, so that follows different therapists will present. So this morning we've presented on supported decision making and also trauma-informed practice. So that's a space that all of the multidisciplinary team can come together and learn and be on the same page about different aspects of support. We do have clinical consults available, so the clinical mentors can come and be part of a session with you and support your learning, but also support the client. So it's always great to see another clinician working. So I think that's an important part of what we can offer. You can actually see how somebody interacts with a client and hear the way they might, ask a question. Obviously, all clients are different, but as you are learning different ways to approach particularly complex family situations, I think that's a really good added bonus for being part of our team. We do like new grads to work across the lifespan, and that's because we have seen so many people come to us that say they only like adults or they only like peds, and then 6 weeks later they are loving something that they never thought they would like just because they didn't have enough opportunity as a student. So we support your learning throughout that process, but we really like to see when people start to develop a real passion in one area. We're really passionate about functional outcomes, so goals are really important to us, and so that support to develop that assessment, confidence in a functional way so that we're getting motivated by the change that we have with families, but also there's a strong motivation and an outcomes focus for the people that we work with. It's really important that we work as a team. All of the other disciplines contribute to the outcomes that we have with clients, families, and the rest of the support networks around the people. And it's really important to us to work with the whole support network so that everybody's on the same page. We do have access to external PD, professional development. So that is something that you can choose that would align with your caseload, but also be supported through your clinical mentor. So there's lots and lots of different options there, and we do like that to be shared back with the team. There's a range of assessment tools and resources, so it's really nice to be, as we've heard before, the clinics are really lovely, but they're also really well resourced, and we also have access to some online tools like Twinkle and Boardmaker. So, you know, and to each other. So there's always someone to help if you don't have an idea. I thought it might be helpful to say, what might your day look like? So I think, you know, you typically would start at your clinic, but, you know, you don't have to. You can go to a session sort of to start off, but we like the clinics to come together and have a bit of a huddle, and so we know what each other's doing and we can share anything we know about a client. And then you could have some clinic sessions, you could have some school sessions, you could have a home care visit, or a supported accommodation. So you might do a few visits, you might go back to the clinic and write some notes. You might have a mentoring session with your clinical mentor. Every day can be different. So you do have some autonomy within that, and we like to minimise travel, but there's a lot of variety, but also a bit of consistency as well. So it meets both needs. So thanks for your time. I'm happy to ask questions at the end, but as you've heard before, definitely Concentric is a company that does live to the values that you've already heard about, and it's involved in every aspect of the organisation, which is very refreshing.
Brilliant. Thank you, Kylie. That was fantastic. I just want to go into a little bit of information about why community. I think as a graduate, it can be quite confusing as there are so many roles out there and quite different pathways that you can take as a clinician. So why community and why it might suit you? So in terms of, I guess, comparing this to hospital, in working with community, it's a really nice factor to make long-standing relationships with your clients. So seeing them through their journey, seeing them hit their goals, it's kind of not just discharge and then you're not going to see them for quite some time. So you're being a part of their team within the community. Flexibility. So being on the road and working your own schedule rather than working shift work and weekends. Working within a close-knit team as well. I think that's something we really pride at Concentric, is the culture and teamwork and bouncing off each other as well as an MDT and allied health team. So working alongside other allied health clinicians out in the community, whether that's in the clinic or you're seeing a client within their home, community, daycare, aged care, or a school environment. This also kind of poses into no weekends and public holidays. Exposure as well to conduct therapy with your clients in an environment comfortable to them, and commute to see your clients is covered. So when you go and see a client, you're being paid obviously on top of your salary for travel. I think it just really gives you flexibility. It also is that long-standing relationship with your clients. You're seeing them through from start to finish, seeing them hit their goals, creating really nice relationships with them, and working within a really nice team as well. The Concentric way. So in terms of our benefits, career development, lifestyle, and culture, so we have flexibility to work with hours. So putting the phone away, no weekend work, and no need to be on call, as I mentioned. Unlocking your potential. So with our $10,000 mentoring and education program, enjoy personalized support and external PD as well, which is courses and paid study days throughout the year. Being provided as well with all tools and resources you need to do your job efficiently. So dive into a vast library of courses to master new skills and snag exciting opportunities to attend, as well as industry-leading events. Being benefited from our in-house career coaching and guidance and accelerate your professional growth. We want you to focus on providing the best therapy for our clients. And discounts as well, which is a really nice benefit at retailers such as Verbal Sports and things like that. And we have a fairy dust fund as well, which is really nice. So this is a fan favorite amongst our clinicians. So this embodies our core values in terms of kindness, letting us sprinkle a little generosity and make a real difference for clients who need it the most, as well as monthly Fun Fridays, which is also a clinical favorite. So there's some really nice benefits that we have at Concentric. So questions. Does anyone have any questions that they would like to ask in terms of either recruitment or clinical? Now, I know it's a lot of information that you might have received, so you might need to go back and kind of delve on what you've learned today. So no worries if there's none. But if there is, feel free to turn your camera on and ask a question.
I've got a question for you, Brooke.
Yes.
As a graduate, I understand that Concentric has 3 pillars.
Mhm.
What if I'm interested in one of the pillars? For example, seniors. I'm passionate about seniors and
Mhm.
want to explore and build my experience there. Will I be required to also work in community, or what does the structure look like for a graduate?
You're probably best to answer that, Tanya. She answered your own question there.
Yeah, no worries. So, out of the 3 pillars, you have the opportunity as a graduate coming in to have your pick. So, we can definitely support giving you experience across the 3 pillars and giving you that varied experience within your first 12 years. But if you do are definitely passionate about one particular area and want to build your expertise and experience around there, so for example, seniors, we can also accommodate that. I think that's the beauty of Concentric. It's really our business model is built around not only supporting the clients, but supporting our clinicians and making sure that we've got a robust clinical support, but also support in every other aspect. So, you know, whether that's our fantastic admin team helping you with that side of things to focus on your clients, or whether that's our lovely people and culture team to support you with things you might be experiencing outside of work, whatever it may be, we've got our arms definitely wrapped around our graduates and ensure that they're well supported.
Brilliant. Thank you, Tanya. Any more questions? No.
Hi.
Yes, Naomi.
Oh, sorry, did I just cut someone off? Was Liana, did you want to talk first?
Oh, good. You can go.
Oh, I was just going to actually just give a bit of an insight, more to say if graduates would like to get an insight of sort of daily life or what happens at Concentric, is to follow our socials. There's lots of, which is Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook and YouTube, just because it just really gives you an insight as to what type of things we get up to, the clients we work with, as well as, yes, team bonding. It's just a nice, give you a great snapshot.
Perfect. Leanne, what was your question?
I'm not sure if you answered, but as a new graduate, how many clients are you expected to have in the first year for a week? Like, for example, we have 10 clients, or I don't know.
Yeah, I might hand that one to Nick.
Yeah, maybe Alicia, you can talk to your story. I mean, I'm happy to give it colour, but I think practically you could probably give a far more realistic answer.
Yeah, sure. I feel like that question is, how long is a piece of string? On average right now, I've got about 20 or so, and that number is negotiated and talked a lot with my clinical mentor and my clinic team leader. The 20 is the raw number, but it's more or less, how comfortable do I feel with the workload? And that question drives the number. So depending on how confident you feel, if you feel like you're kind of not having enough work, you're always welcome to ask. But if you also feel really overwhelmed, say I've got some really complex mental health clients where I'm doing a lot of work per week, that will change. I know some clinicians that only have 5 clients. I know that the number really depends. Yeah. And the biggest thing that will drive that number will be a conversation between yourself and your clinical seniors and your team leader.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Oh, good.
Any other questions?
Can I just add, sorry.
Yeah.
Just to add to that, Liana, it's really hard to have a number just because there's so much different frequency in how often we might see a client or the travel that's associated with a client. So it's very varied in, I guess, the complexity of your caseload, the funding of the people you see, the travel that you need to do. But as Alicia said, there's support around like building your caseload and the complexity of your caseload. Sorry, Joanne.
Oh, Joanne, you're on mute.
Thank you, and sorry. I was just saying I've been working with a new graduate, and it's not, I mean, I understand the question about how many clients do you have, but it's better to think about it, how much support do you have? So within that context of, the variable number of clients, you've also got 2 leaders in your clinic that help you with different aspects of setting up your diary, managing the billing, scheduling different things, and you've got a range of clinical supports. So you've got this whole sort of umbrella there around you to support you to manage what's right for you and to make sure that you're feeling comfortable but also hitting targets. So it's a little bit more than just numbers.
Alicia?
Yes, sorry, if I can add to that, to second it, the support of managing my diary has been the biggest thing for me. When I was at uni, I didn't learn anything about managing a professional clinical diary, so I am not the most well-versed in that area. So having someone actually in the clinic where I can go to about booking times and this and that to have it all set out has been really, really helpful.
Brilliant. Thank you, team. Does that answer your question, Liana?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Any other questions? No worries. Well, let's move to next steps. So post this webinar, someone from our talent team, most likely me, will be in contact with you over the next 2 days. We'll be able to discuss your potential application in terms of location and any further questions, and then hopefully schedule an interview. Look, this is our talent at Concentric email if you want to send through your CV or any further questions. Myself, Lachlan, Maddie and Tanya are within the talent acquisition team, and we are more than happy to assist you. And we hopefully look forward to hearing you. So thank you so much for everyone attending this evening. As I said, any further questions, feel free to send them through to this email. But that is it from us. So thank you so much. Bye now.
Thanks all.
Thank you,
Thanks, everyone.